All right, pleased to be joined by Kevin Blue from Golf Canada. Kevin, welcome back to Golf Talk Canada.
Thanks for having me on again, Adam. Great to see you. Great
Good
to
to
be
see
with
you
you.
too, my friend. Yes, and I mean 2023 is off to a great start for golf in Canada. How would you describe the overall state of the Canadian game right now?
I think very positive start to 2023. There's obviously been a number of highlights. Recently on the PGA Tour, there's been some very nice play from a number of players. I think a lot of people were cheering for Nick Taylor in the final group at the Waste Management. Also important earlier this season is Ben Silverman winning on the Corn Ferry Tour and putting himself in position with a strong rest of the year to get his PGA Tour card back. So we're excited for hopefully a very successful 2023.
And that's on the men's side. And looking at the women's side too, Brooke Henderson doing what she did, winning right out of the gate. I mean, watching her week in, week out, how impressed are you by just how incredibly talented she is and the amount of wins she's now picking up?
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, the probably the exclamation point so far this year was Brooke winning the first event of the year, and in the fashion that she did, which was clean from start to finish. I think people probably tuned in to see that she was in control, and um, whenever Brooke is confident around the greens, which she showed, in that event, she's awfully tough to beat. When the wind blows, her ball striking really separates her. um, Super excited for Brooke and the year that she's going to have. Seventh in the world right now, and hopefully trending even further up the Rolex rankings.
Yeah, she's been so much fun to watch so far. Okay, let's look ahead here. 2023. We are early on right now, but given the success of both the RBC Canadian Open and CP Women's Open last year, what's your excitement level for both of these tournaments to go on later this year?
Yeah, last year was memorable for both events, given the sort of time off from the pandemic, and we're very excited for 2023. The CP Women's Open going out to Shaughnessy in Vancouver is going to be a fantastic opportunity to bring the world class talent from the LPGA Tour to Vancouver on an amazing golf course, as we all know, in Shaughnessy. So looking forward to that very much at the end of August. The beginning of the summer, we have the RBC Canadian Open. It'll be in at Oakdale. Um, in North York, very strong ticket sales so far. People are excited about the opportunity to see the PGA Tour stars return to Toronto. And I think the golf course is going to be an interesting composite of the three nines that they have there at Oakdale. And it'll be, many people are familiar with Oakdale. Some people may have played Oakdale in the members configuration, and what you'll see on the PGA Tour is a sampling of holes from all three of those nines. So that's exciting.
Yeah, Oakdale is in my neck of the woods. I've actually never been on the property yet, but we will be with Golf Talk Canada coming up this June, which we are so excited about. Well, how about some of the other national championships? Give us a sense of some of the other championships going on from coast to coast this summer.
Yeah, we're very very much looking forward to a Canadian women's amateur out in Halifax at Ashburn, and we are in the process right now of making sure that all of the world class amateurs around the world in the women's game are aware of the event and will return to it. Pandemic interrupted some of the cross border travel in the years that we were able to resume it. And we're excited to build the field strength of the Canadian women's amateur back to what it was, which was really a world class women's amateur tournament. And the community of Halifax is looking forward to embracing that. On the men's side, the Canadian men's amateur returns to the GTA and will be hosted at, as we know, a tremendous facility in Canadian golf in the Pulpit Club, contested on at the Pulpit and the Paintbrush, over 72 holes. So that'll be a highlight of the summer for sure. Really eager to again to see some more international players in both of those men's and women's amateurs this summer.
Yeah, and we mentioned a little earlier about the success on the pro game or pro level so far in 2023. But what about the future? What are some of Golf Canada's strategies to continue growing the game to see even more Canadians near the top of the leaderboard on the pro level in the next couple of years?
Yeah. Adam, we've thanks to the support of partners and donors, we've been able to increase our the amount of investment that we are making in the next generation of players, and that starts relatively early on in junior golf and continues up through college and early on in the pro careers through the Team Canada Player Development Program. And we're excited about the impact of that investment over time. I think you're seeing people, like Brooke, like Corey, create this sense of confidence that among the younger players that, yeah, I can do it. I can be a world-class player. I can be a top 10 player on the Rolex rankings. I can be in the Tour Championship one day. Those role models were just like me as I grew up. So, we're hopeful. We're working very hard at it. Player development is a long-term process, and I think people who follow competition at the national level in junior golf. We'll see at the Canadian Junior Boys and the Canadian Junior Girls this year some really excellent play, and hopefully that continues to translate into even more success at the professional level.
Now, we had you on our show, on our radio show at one point last year, and I believe you had some numbers, like you were hoping to have X number of players on the PGA, LPGA tour by X year. Do you remember what that number was, or what is it right now?
Yeah, our eventual aspiration is to have a total of 30 players with PGA and LPGA Tour status. And right now that will sort of require slightly more than doubling the number. And but our rationale for this is that if you look at the extremely large participation base of golf in Canada and the rate at which countries around the world develop players, as we continue to work with stakeholders in the Canadian game, and as we continue to work with our donors and our partners to provide the resources to the player development system and to the players, we're hopeful and optimistic that over time, the rate at which we're developing elite players starts to match the rate at which other countries develop elite players in many instances. So we actually think the equilibrium for Canada, over the long term is around 30 players on the LPGA and PGA Tour, and I guess we'll find out. We're ambitiously moving forward with that goal in mind, and that might be an un-Canadian thing to do, or whatever the case may be, but we're really trying to support the players and really make clear that we do think that the role models that are on the tour now can inspire them as long as they're well supported by everybody in Canadian golf. So that's where we're trying to get to, Adam, is a total of 30.
That's awesome. And you mentioned role models, and recently there was some news about Mike Weir. Speaking of role models, the first official First Tee Canada ambassador. What's the significance of having a guy like Mike Weir, who's celebrating the 20th anniversary of winning the Masters this year, having him on board to do this?
Mike is a fantastic ambassador for golf in Canada writ large, and formalizing his role as an ambassador for First Tee in Canada is something that we're super happy that he's raised his hand to do. First Tee is a program that introduces golf to Canadian youth of all backgrounds, so that Canadian youth can experience the benefits, the life lessons, the experiences that are inherent in our sport. And Mike's role, in addition to being an inspiration to kids, is going to be he's going to be able to help us, as we generate financial support for First Tee with donors and with support of corporate Canada. And Mike's desire to give back, to be a leader in this sport for Canada, is fantastic, and we're really appreciative of him being on board.
Okay, before we sign off, we're gonna have a little fun here. You're a very accomplished player yourself. You tried qualifying for the Canadian Open last year. You're very close to doing it. Also playing the Canadian Am too. What's the state of your personal game right now? Will we be seeing you trying to qualify for Oakdale this year?
Adam, I appreciate you mentioned that. I would describe myself more as a has-been than perhaps the pencil isn't as sharp as it once was, but yeah, last year I did play in the the local qualifier made it through and played in the Monday and didn't quite make it through for the RBC Canadian Open. And I am entered in the event again this year. I entered it yesterday. We'll see. The game is very wintered and hibernating, so we'll see how that goes. Excited about the Canadian Amateur on the men's side, hopefully to participate as well this year. Was fortunate to play half decent last year out at Point Grey, but it's fun to tee it up with the younger players, and sometimes an old guy with some experience can hang in there with them for a little bit, but by no means are my tools nearly as sharp as some of these young kids have these days, which are quite impressive.
Well, we'll be tracking you both on and off the golf course. Very exciting time for Golf Canada. Kev, thanks for your time today. We'll do it again later this season.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it.